Only those in direct communication realized that the danger had spread far beyond the crash site, and that casualties might number not into the tens, but into the hundreds, even thousands.
I was freaking out. I was crying, and my boss came into my office, and he's like, it's okay. It's just a fire. They're going to put it out, and he's okay. So I wrote back again to him saying, can you get out? And he wrote back, no, we are stuck.
The people trapped on the upper floors inundated the emergency services with calls, pleading for help. At the point of impact, temperatures were reaching over 1,000 degrees centigrade. As the flames consumed everything in sight, the smoke was becoming increasingly toxic. In desperation, windows were broken to let in fresh air. This only made things worse. For some people, there was only one option left. Among the bystanders was photographer Richard Drew.
I was standing between a police officer and a woman EMS worker, and all of a sudden the woman says, "Oh, look," and she pointed up, and we both looked up, all three of us looked up, and the people started coming down from the World Trade Center. Bodies were falling, so I instinctively picked up my camera and started taking pictures. That's what I do. It's like a carpenter, he has a hammer, he builds a house, I have a camera, I take pictures.
Numerous people jumping. Numerous people jumping.
You could hear the sound. They would fall to a certain point, and then I couldn't see them anymore because my view was obstructed from where I was. But you could always hear them hitting the ground like a sack of cement, a big thud.
Broadcasters were pulling back. They weren't showing the people falling. They were reporting them.
People are jumping out the windows. Over there, they're jumping out the windows, I guess because they're trying to save themselves. I don't know.
But pulling back didn't spare people from the horror. Because then the unbelievable happened. Something that made it clear that the first plane wasn't an accident. When United Airlines Flight 175 crashed into the South Tower, millions saw it live.
You can't even see down Broadway from the vantage point of City Hall. I've now moved inside a building, but all the buildings along Broadway here at City Hall are being evacuated. On my way up to this building,
the 1,000 people trapped in the North Tower were joined by 600 in the South. One man, arriving at his office across the river in New Jersey, however, was unaware of the attacks and the awful predicament his wife now found herself in.
The phone rang, and it was my friend Bill, and he said, do you know what's going on at the World Trade Center? And I said, no. He knew Elaine worked there. We'd been friends for many years. And he said, well, a plane hit the North Tower, and I knew Elaine worked in the South Tower. So I said, well, that's horrible, but, let me see what I can find out. My secretary came in and told me that Elaine was on the phone. The first thing I said was, well, thank God you're okay. And she said, well, not really. And she told me that smoke was coming into the room, it was coming through the vents, and that there had been an explosion beneath them. She didn't know a plane hit.
Elaine Gentle had seen the North Tower hit and had immediately began helping her colleagues to evacuate. She was on the 97th floor when the second plane struck and was now among those trapped.
As she was speaking to me, I could hear her voice. Her breath was labored, and I remember saying, don't breathe so hard, try to relax. When I asked, why they didn't try to go down, she said it was really hot out there. And she meant the area near where the elevators and the stairwells were. I didn't understand that. But it was evident to me just from her breathing that it was becoming impossible to be there anymore. She said to me, "I'm scared." She wasn't a person who got scared. And I said, "Honey, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. You'll get down. You'll get down."
Elaine said that she and her colleagues felt they only had one choice: to put wet clothes over their head and to try to get out.
She said to me that she loved me, and she said to tell the boys that I loved them. And I was shocked that she was saying this to me. I said, of course I will, but it's going to be all right. And she said, "I love you." And I said, "I love you." And she said, "I love you." And I said, "I love you." And then I said, "Call me when you get down." And when I hung up the phone, I was horrified.
Jack Gentle doesn't know what happened next, but he knows where it all ended.
I know that Elaine was found on the street in front of the building across from hers. So whether she jumped or fell, I don't know. I believe she was alive when it happened because of that phone call. I hoped that she had succumbed to the smoke, but it doesn't seem likely. It's something I can't know. In some ways, it might just be the last element of control that you have. Everything around you is happening and you can't stop it. But this is something that you can do. And to be out of the smoke and the heat, and to be out in the air, it must have felt like flying.
It's gonna fall. What's going on? It's gonna explode.
At 9:58, the South Tower fell, extinguishing in an instant the hopes of hundreds inside. The photographer Richard Drew caught the moment.
I think the camera is sort of a filter for me between me and what I'm photographing, and I'm only seeing what's coming through my lens, and that helps me sort of separate it, I guess, psychologically.
What Drew didn't realize was that it already captured an image so shocking, so representative of the horror of the day, that it would ignite controversy and anger across the world.
Off. All the airports are closed down, the roads are closed down. The twin disaster at the World Trade Center happening shortly before 9 a.m., then right around 9 a.m., and then just a little while ago, a third explosion, which actually brought down the South Tower. 1010 Winds reporter Julia Papa is down around...
More than an hour had passed since the North Tower had been hit. On the ground, people were traumatized by